Good morning. I don't know how well you can see these. This is a little one-off build that I've been doing in the background. I've taken a few pictures as I've built them, but not a huge amount. So I'm really pleased with these, and there's a reason why I've been working on these two drivers, because I'm probably going to use them in a few up-and-coming things. But these are a pair of Proac tablet cabinets, which I got off eBay, shock horror, for 30 quid. And they didn't have any front baffle, no crossover, so just a cabinet with no front, no covers either. So yeah, got them for next to nothing. They're finished in a black ash, and I've just repainted them. So yeah, I wanted to build a little two-way, really to trial this Vifa driver. This is a 4-inch Vifa woofer, mid woofer. I can get them pretty cheap in pairs, and I'm quite a fan of some of the Vifa drivers, so I just wanted to try it. This is the ribbon super tweeter I use in my own HA series speakers, which is fantastic. So I wanted to see how these two would work together. So yeah, the Tablette is a speaker made by Proac that I've had a lot of here. The versions that I've had tend to have I think it's the ScanSpeak D2008 tweeter, and I think it's the Ciaz woofer, 4-inch, which suffers horrifically with corrosion in the motor structure, in the pole piece. And I've had quite a lot of them that I've had to carefully take the dust cap off and get rid of all the kind of salt that appears from the aluminium corroding. Some of them I've had to completely dismantle, clean them out, put them back together, but they're never, I don't think that repair lasts particularly long. And a lot of the tweeters as well, they've popped, so I've had to redome those or just replace them. I'm going off redoming tweeters because I don't think they're ever the same. I mean, I go through the process of measuring them afterwards, and trying to keep reference measurements from the working version of that tweeter, so I can make sure I'm in the ballpark, rather than just slap a dome in there and yeah, hope that's it. And there's so many replacement drivers out there now, and it doesn't take a huge amount to really integrate a new tweeter. So yeah, anyway, so I finished these. I had yesterday afternoon doing all the crossover work, and mega pleased. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put any build photos I've got in now, and then we'll have a talk about the crossover. Right, so as you can see, I didn't take a huge amount of photos of the build. You know, really it was making a new front baffle, mounting this 4-inch woofer and the tweeter. I've chosen just to put the tweeter on the front of the baffle at the moment, not recess it. In terms of the measurements, I can't see any issues with edge diffraction or anything like that. So yeah, no problem. These are the measurements I've ended up with. and I'm really pleased with those. Out of the box, really good. I am using a fairly high crossover point because this really is a super tweeter, and below 3000 hertz it does struggle. It starts to generate some distortion, so I don't want to use it there. So I'm crossing from the 4-inch mid or mid bass driver to the ribbon tweeter at about 3.5 to 4000 hertz, which is really high, but this is a small driver. The off-axis performance isn't compromised. In fact, the off-axis performance is really good. You know, we've got a small driver, so it beaming in the higher frequencies isn't so much of an issue. You can see the tweeter drop off as you go horizontally, as you would expect, and a little bit of time alignment change as you move up and down vertically, but overall really good. There's a little bit of stored energy in the spectral decay, but that's just going to be box stuffing, I'm pretty sure of that. So there isn't much in there at the moment. The tablets, or this model, didn't have much anyway. Panel dampening, so bituminous felt pads, and a small lining of probably 1/2 inch or 10mm foam, but I need to put a bit more in there. So base port at the back with the old drinking straws that we often see. These are my tweeter cables that I've thrown out the back for doing the crossover work. The woofer's currently connected to the new binding posts. So yeah, I want to get the crossovers built, and I've had a look at them, listened to them with everything clipped together in my measurement room, and the sound is good. The sound is good, but I won't know for sure until the crossovers are up together. I then listen to them as a stereo pair, get some run time on them. These are new woofers, new tweeters, let everything bed in, and then measure them again, because I often find some of the little ripples you see in the frequency response after the speaker has been run for 20, 30, 40 hours and the components all bedded in, the suspension on the woofers and things like that have suppled up. A lot of that comes out. So I try and keep a load of used components for when I'm doing my crossover work, because they're already burnt in. Anyway, so let's get the crossovers built. I'll go through the crossover design, and yeah, let's do this a bit wobbly, but give you a closer look. So they've turned out nice. I've had some badges made as well, but there we go. So I'll obviously tart them up a bit more. I don't know whether I'm going to make covers for them. I don't think I'll bother. Obviously I'm going to tidy up the fixing screws and that kind of thing. I've used Allen bolts on the tweeter and woofer, which I'm quite pleased with. So yeah, I think they're going to be a good little monitor. Right, so this is the crossover design I've come up with to use on these speakers. Why I'm giving this away, I don't know. So on the tweeter, I need to come through a 4.7 ohm resistor to attenuate the whole tweeter circuit. That ribbon tweeter is pretty sensitive. I come through a 3 microfarad polypropylene capacitor. I'm going to use a Solon in this, and then I carry on to the, I think it's the positive of my tweeter, and then we have a very small inductor in shunt, so 0.1 millihenry. This is air core, and I have a resistor as well, 2.2 ohm, just to control the peak that this can produce in the roll-off, and that's worked really well. Woofer circuit, come through a 1.8 millihenry inductor into the positive of our woofer, and then we have a 3 microfarad capacitor again, so I'm going to use a Solon polypropylene again. and quite a large resistor, 8.2, down to ground. So we have a second order high pass and a second order low pass. That gives me a crossover frequency around 4 kilohertz, which is quite high. I can't play the ribbon any lower, and I'm not, going by the measurements, compromising the off axis. So as the larger cone is playing the higher wavelengths, it can start beaming, but I'm not seeing that. There is some energy loss, but it's okay. When I did my impedance measurements, this whole system dips to 6.8 ohms, and I think the peak was about 20, what did I write down? 31 ohms. So not bad. It's going to be an easy load to drive. So yeah, very pleased with that. Right, let's put it together. I haven't got much space in these, and the air core inductors I'm using, like on the woofer, are big. So I've got some boards that I've used. They're copper, pre-tinned. You can build a second order crossover on these for the high and low pass. So that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to stick this on time lapse and put these together. Okay, so that's both crossovers done. So we have our positive input here, and if we look at our tweeter circuit first, we're going to go through this 4.7 ohm resistor, picking up our 3 microfarad capacitor and out to our tweeter, and also picking up this inductor through this resistor down to ground. So this board isn't set up to have resistors after the shunt inductor, so I've had to modify it a little bit. And then on our woofer circuit, coming through our big air core inductor, out to our woofer, picking up this capacitor and this resistor down to ground. So again, this board isn't set up for the resistor on the shunt capacitor. So there we go, time to get them in the boxes. all done. Wiring them in and getting the crossovers in was an absolute nightmare. Anyway, thanks for watching this one. I'll probably make some covers for them. But yeah, another little one-off done.